Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome to Performance Infill. My name is Jamila. I'm owner-operator of VLS Developments, which is a construction and development company. Been working in the industry for about 10 years now, and really found a passionate in infill and development over the last, I'd say, 5 to 6 years. We're going to talk more about what infill is if you're not quite sure that term. But I have worked on a lot of fourplexes, duplexes, multifamily projects, developing subdivisions up to 52 lots. And most recently just finished building a 28-unit condo building in the beautiful city of Kelowna. And way back at the beginning of my career, when I was in sales and marketing, I had the pleasure of meeting Andrew for the first time in our career. Our paths have crossed a few times, and I'm super excited that we've come together to create Performance Infill and help people take advantage of what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I met Jamila greater than a decade ago. Andrew Gaucher with Dynamic Constructors, principal at Dynamic and G Group Developments. I've been in the industry for about 16 or 18 years. We've done a small vertically integrated firm, done mostly low-rise stuff, commercial, office, shopping centers, and for the last decade or so, primarily residential. So we've done lots of subdivision, lots of custom home building, and also some infill design. Won an infill design competition actually a couple of years ago. This is a really interesting segment of the market and something we want to grow into. So we've got a dedicated construction team through Dynamic. And then, of course, what we're creating now with Performance Infill.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Sandra Matlock. I am originally from Saskatchewan with a kind of a layover in Alberta. We're making my way to Kelowna about 20 years ago. I started professionally working in food service, kind of designing, building commercial kitchens and hotels, restaurants, hospitality, all of that type of thing. About a decade ago, I came on to into the real estate industry and development with Andrew. I don't want to. Anyway, so for about that decade, Andrew and I have been working together. I do the sales and marketing for the majority of Andrew's umbrella companies, and came on with Performance Infill so that I can help push out the idea of what it is and help bring people into it so that we can all work together.
My name is Andre Balaku. I have a little bit of a different history than you guys to real estate. My first experience was when I was really young, helping my parents kind of renovate and flip homes. So shading toilets and all that kind of fun stuff. I ended up going to school in Vancouver, studying real estate and finance, and worked for a private equity fund down there. We did value add and development projects across Western Canada. After a few years there, I moved back here and started doing infill development, started with a fourplex, which is where I met Jamila. And that relationship grew, and we have since done a 28-unit condo building in Lake Creek. So here we are.
So, jumping right into infill and, what is infill and what's included in infill, it's really primarily redevelopment opportunities. So, there's suburban infill, and then there's more urban infill as well, in terms of those two different polarities of it, I guess. But mostly I like to call it gentle density. It can start from as minor as something as a carriage house, and then grow to, ultimately infill can be vertical and can go up quite tall. But for the most part, when we're talking infill these days, we're talking about 2 to 3 stories, and adding 1 unit, say a carriage house, or maybe up to 6 units for a sort of a full redevelopment.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really repurposing existing infrastructure, right? It's like upcycling.
That's exactly it.
Right? So it's taking an existing property that has a house or, just existing services there, and clearing it off. So you might keep the existing place there and add to it, but upcycling, adding to existing infrastructure versus blasting out the mountain and bringing in all brand new services and creating all brand new models.
Right. And utilizing land that otherwise wouldn't be there. Would otherwise be grass or garden or whatever it was.
That's right.
But instead of creating new land, using the land that's already been within all of the cities.
It allows you to better tie into the existing fabric of a neighborhood as well. So in a perfect world, you can merge the culture of old and new, the old being the existing neighborhood that's already in place, and then of course the new being the new construction. And then of course all the urban amenities or any amenities, even suburban amenities. This obviously, by adding a few more houses on each and every property, just gives it a better utilization of what's already there in terms of amenity infrastructure beyond civil infrastructure, say water and sewer and such.
Yeah, I mean, allowing additional budgets to upgrade and improve those services that may have been put in 60, 70 years ago, along with the schools around the community parks, allowing more budgets to go into upgrade those services, those city services, right?
It depends a lot too on the goals of the city, like where we are in Kelowna. You know, the city kind of wants to focus on densification and infill instead of kind of the urban sprawl that you've been seeing in other places. And I feel like more and more cities will begin to adopt that mindset. So I think it'll become a trend that moves forward.
Well, and you consider that people are always looking for homes. Like the type of homes that we're living in now aren't going to be the type of homes that we live in 25 years from now. So when you look at the concept of always having a single family home as your forever home, we just need to change that as a society as well. Like the cost of living is expensive, cost of materials is expensive. So we need to look at considering, instead of always having the mindset of single family home, is like, is it duplex? Is it fourplex? Is it multi-generational, sharing half an acre of land and making homes work on that?
Traditional single family is very expensive in many measurements, right? And kind of building all new infrastructure, all new roads. Obviously, the cost of construction is very expensive. So in a lot of ways, I think a good way of thinking about infill is it's still ground-oriented housing, and ground-oriented housing is any way you have a direct access, as opposed to going through a common corridor or hallway.
That's
in a condo building. Ground-oriented housing is anything you can access, say directly from the street. So I think in a lot of ways, missing middle and infill is the new form of single family. So while people maybe need to wrap their head around that a little bit, it's a very similar to a townhouse built form.
Yes.
And it's just so much more affordable. I mean, cutting one lot into 6 ways, you can imagine, obviously it cuts everything in 1/6 of the cost.
Correct.
So,
And people also make the education side of it is that you don't build like we did in the 70s, right? So you're not hearing your next door neighbor pulling pots and pans out of their drawers, or their kids playing with the door stoppers. Construction is just far more sound than it was then. And like literally sound, where you're not hearing everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what puts people away from wanting to share walls, is that they think they're going to hear all of the conversations and everything that happens in their homes, and various smells transferring through those types of things. But construction's completely different now. Just not the case. You don't even know you're sharing a wall.
That's right.
Well, and when you work with the right team that has experience in multifamily construction, which is very different from single family construction, as well as working within the inner city and building within the city versus building in a new subdivision. These are all the things that you take into consideration, as well with designing it properly. So, windows aren't looking into windows of each other, and these can all be things that can make people fearful of infill development. But when you work with the right team that is thinking about these from design, it does change everything along the way. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about the cost, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of governments are moving in the direction of infill housing.
Well, not just moving, moved. Right? So we should talk about that.
PC is there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And some municipalities faster than others.
Yes.
That's right.
But yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's been a provincial mandate that came down in, I guess, late October of 2023.
Yeah.
Here locally, and it's been sort of more and more mandates since then.
Yeah.
Eventually. So I mean, it's in some ways it's opening up the door for opportunity, and in other ways it's forcing the infill opportunity. But I think sometimes good change takes that shove to sort of get us there.
Absolutely.
I mean, all this new legislation that you mentioned, and that's slowly coming into municipalities over time. I think what we've found is that it's kind of eliminated a lot of the red tape that it takes to do these infill projects. Whereas before, you would have to completely rezone your land and go through kind of tedious city processes.
And legal fees. Yep.
Now it's kind of simplified, and all of that framework is already in place to where you can just put forward a design and off to the races you go. So a lot of that red tape is being removed.
And for those of you that may not be closely paying attention to real estate politics like we do, because it directly affects our jobs every single day and how we work, but BC has mandated across the province for municipalities over 5,000 people to update their land code, their zoning bylaws, to accommodate anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 6 units on a single family property. So we're going to do a series of videos that talks about all the different things that are involved in that and your options. And, you know, there's a way to look at this as a glass half full. Like, there's going to be people that don't like this. And, you know, obviously there's like a glass half empty view on this, and not everyone's going to be happy with it. But there is a glass half full view to that. And our video series is going to be talking to that. And, you know, in a way, I feel if you own a single family home right now, you've kind of won the lottery. You know, a lot of people buy properties in certain areas of cities, fingers crossed, hoping it gets zoned out so that they can sell it and make that profit. That's been an investment strategy. And so BC is blanket multifamily everywhere.
Yeah. The other thing that people have done is they like buy their property, sit on it for 35 years so that they can take the equity out of it to help their kids. Well, now they can take their equity out of it instead of selling their home and downsizing. Now they get to share that equity on the same space.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So whether it's with your family or not, you don't have to leave your home in order to gain from what you've grown over the last 30 years from that home.
Yeah.
Which is a big portion of it as well, especially given how many kids never think that they're going to own a home. Yeah.
Tying to the downsizing thing too, you know, people get attached to their neighborhood. You like the specific neighborhood you're in, but you don't want as big of a home as you did before. Infill is a good way to do that because you can kind of demolish your old home or create another home in the back that's smaller and better suits your needs and rent out or sell the existing home structure. So there's a lot of flexibility that comes forward with this.
There's a lot of interesting ways to accommodate, different family dynamics. You know, if you're an investor and you have a rental property, you can easily add, 1, 2, 3, 4 units, whether that means keeping the existing house and adding carriage houses, or if that means, clean slate, you build 6 units there. Or other family dynamics where like you said, maybe you're in your 50s, your 60s, and you love the neighborhood, but you want to have an additional home on site for your growing kids. It's very challenging financially to access the housing market for a 22-year-old going to university, or maybe you have elderly parents and you want them to be on the same site, and so you build a carriage house and literally in the same house, but you're 10 steps away to help your mother or dad as they grow old.
Or maybe you just want to build yourself a brand new house in the backyard.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That one as well, right?
Or maybe you want to get rid of the home that's there and filled with asbestos and the windows are no longer functioning. And instead of starting over and trying to bring it up to code, you can tear that one down, build something that works for you, build something that works for selling or renting, and then building something that's going to continuously give you. I see a lot of people who are like, this house just isn't working for us anymore. Let's make 2 of them instead of 1 of them. And still be able to keep some of that earned space as well, or whatever it might be. It just fits different people. And we're seeing in the industry more and more and more that people used to always put in suites for rental purposes, but now instead of that, they're moving their kids in, or they're moving their senior parents in. And so this is a way of being able to keep your own home, but be able to add family or income around it.
Well, and you don't have to add a suite.
Exactly.
You can put it in the backyard,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk to me because they, the man cave, right? The shop.
They want some room. They want some space for that.
He's put up with the 20 by 20 garage long enough, right? Kids are gone. College is over. He wants a shop. How do you pay for that? Well, you could build the shop, put a 2-bedroom suite on top of it, and the rental income from that could cover the costs associated with building that shop. Right?
And now he gets a bigger TV.
Yeah.
And the shop's walls aren't in the house, ladies. But I mean, we're talking about this, we're making it sound really easy, and financing is a really big question mark.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We've got a couple videos coming up about how you can use that house already and how it pays for itself, and talk through that, which I think is a stumbling block a lot of people have with getting started.
Financing, what to build, where to build, etc. There's always lots of questions to explore.
Totally. Thanks for watching our video. This is Performance Infill, and you can find us at performanceinfill.com. Our phone number's there. Give us a call. Let's chat about what you can do.